Welcome to ProtectSolutions.com, your identity theft risk management company. We specialize in employee training, written identity theft prevention policies, and most importantly, the employee benefits. So this quick video clip is going to give you an idea of the most powerful employee benefit that's on the market today to help with the identity theft issues that organizations all across the country are dealing with. As we get into this, it's very important to understand that as an HR director or executive of a company and owner of a company, you realize that identity theft is your biggest liability as a company. And that's really becoming apparent as times unfold, as every day progresses. This crime is out of control. It claims 60,000 victims a day. If you do the math on that, that's every 0.7 seconds somebody has their identity compromised. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything out of control so quickly, so rampant. Just from 2009, if you back up to 2008, it's actually tripled in the numbers, and you know, the FTC is calling 1 out of 2 Americans will be victimized in the next 24 months. As an executive, an owner, or an HR director, the question you need to ask yourself is how many of those people will be my employees? If 60,000 victims a day is just a probability, a statistical likelihood that's so overwhelming that a lot of those will end up striking very, very close to home. There's two problems that happen when someone becomes a victim of identity theft as far as when they're an employee. The first that we help with this employee benefit is a significant productivity loss. You know, the average person spends 600 hours of their own time cleaning up an identity theft issue. Not to mention, on average, spending up to $1,000 to $3,000 out of their own pocket to fix the problem. Well, see, the problem with that is it takes work hours to fix that, and those work hours, have to be done between 9 and 5, between Monday and Friday. So what does that mean to your organization? That means Joe, Billy, Bob, and Sandy, who become victims of identity theft, have to spend 15 weeks of their own time outside of the job to go fix that problem. And if anybody's ever been a victim of identity theft, they understand that your life stops. Everything becomes a second priority. It becomes your number one priority. Because let me ask you a question. If there was warrants out for your name in different states and the police were coming to your door because you committed a crime that you had never even been in that state, would you worry about going to work? Absolutely not. What about if the IRS were telling you that you owed $50,000 in back taxes? That'd be a problem. What if someone changed your medical records and they were telling you owed a $120,000 bill that wasn't you? You see, your life absolutely stops. You can't borrow money. You can't do anything. You see, when employees become victims, companies spend an average of $1,600 per employee in loss of productivity because they're not there, they're not focused, and that ultimately decreases your bottom line productivity, which ultimately is a loss in profitability. The second thing that happens can happen if one of your employees is violated is it becomes a legal liability because of new laws that have come around the bend, and identity theft laws and different things that are putting pressure on organizations to be more responsible with the data that they collect on the customer side and the employee side. Companies are now responsible for the financial health of employees, not only on their physical health, but their financial health. So, they're responsible for those actual damages, and they can, there can be fines, fees, lawsuits, big-time legal liability if they're not protecting their employees. This is a publication from Business and Legal Reports. It's an HR publication. It goes out to all the HR directors all across the country, and it gives a really great description, really sums up exactly why this is such an important thing to implement within an organization. Right here in the article, it says that, right off the bat, it says the workplace is is the number one source of identity theft, and with new laws that expose companies to fines, fees, and lawsuits for such thefts, employers should consider offering identity theft protection as an employee benefit. Well, 52% of identity theft occurrences are happening in the workplace, so it's no wonder why these new laws have come down the pipeline. It says on June 1st, 2005, a new provision took place, FACTA, and it states that any employer's action or inaction results in the loss of an employee information can be fined by federal and state government and sued in civil court. An employee is entitled to recover the actual damage sustained by if their identity is stolen due to the employer's inaction. It then goes on in the article and states something that really just puts right on the bullseye. It says one solution that provides an affirmative defense against potential fines, fees, and lawsuits is to offer some sort of identity theft protection as an employee benefit. An employee can choose whether or not to pay for this benefit, but the key is to make the protection available and have a mandatory meeting for everybody on identity theft and the protection you are making available, the specific employee benefit. It's similar to what employers do for their health insurance. And then it goes on to say employees can elect to either accept or decline to have the identity theft coverage. If the employees have the coverage and become identity theft victims, the employer gains. The victimized employees spend less time and money, just like we talked about earlier, 600 hours average to fix a problem and up to $3,000 of out-of-pocket expenses. And then they experience less frustration, which is focus. They're more focused. They don't have to worry about that. And restoring their identities. If employees decline the coverage and later claim that their identities were stolen as a result of the company's actions or inactions, the employer has signed proof that they've attended the presentation and declined the coverage because the employee signs an opt-in, opt-out form. It shows reasonable steps. Identity theft protection and an employee benefit is becoming a trend because employers are looking for new ways to lower their costs. It's unique, it's hot in the marketplace, and it's relatively inexpensive. That is a great article that really just hits the nail right on the head, just talking about why this is becoming such a trend. And for you as somebody of a head of an organization, should highly consider putting this to use for your employees. This is the service in a nutshell. Real briefly, it's a great overview, but there's two companies that protect the most lucrative solution on the market. Prepaid Legal Services, the biggest, the biggest legal service provider in North America, and then Kroll Worldwide. Kroll Worldwide is the #1 risk management company on the planet. They're in every single continent. They are enormous. They do the forensic accounting for the federal government. They're the 800-pound gorilla, just like how it says in the top. It's clear that they're the 800-pound gorilla in the room of identity theft protection. That's from The Silent Crime by Michael McCoy. Michael McCoy is the foremost expert in identity theft with his new book out. He actually received the federal grant to research identity theft on behalf of the federal government. And he talked about that this product is the best of the best. And the reason why is because when you have an identity theft issue, it is first and foremost a legal issue immediately. Okay, so if you are having monitoring or something just of that nature, that's good, it's important, but it's like fixing a third of the problem or fixing part of the problem. You really don't have a complete wall of protection. What I'm going to show you right here is the complete wall of protection that surrounds you for all 5 areas of identity theft. You see, you have identity monitoring. Notice that I didn't say credit monitoring, I said identity monitoring because Prepaid Legal Services and Kroll Worldwide have put together a product that helps in all 5 different areas of identity theft. See, 27% of identity theft is the financial side. All the rest is Social Security, medical records, your driver's license, identity theft, there's so many different things that can happen. For example, someone gets a job in your name. 3 people, 4 people, 10 people get a job in your name. They don't pay taxes because maybe they're illegal. Someone goes in and gets health insurance under your name because they couldn't get it on your name. Big problem. Someone goes out and commits a crime in your name under your Social Security number and you have warrants out for your arrest. Someone gets a DUI under your driver's license. All these things are legal issues. So there's identity monitoring that they do, and they'll do proactive searches under your Social Security, medical records, DMV, all these different things, and they monitor your credit 4 times a day. And then here's where we separate from the pack. Identity restoration. It's nice to have a fire alarm in your house, and it goes off when there's a fire, and it detects it, and you know there's a problem. But imagine having a fire alarm and then calling the fire department and them saying, "Oh, well, we don't restore environments anymore. That's up to you. So you have to go get a hose and try to put out the fire." That's where Kroll comes in. They assign a licensed investigator to that member, and they go and fix the problem for them. So if they're an employee, if they become victimized, they get to stay at work. Kroll goes to work on their behalf. They stay at work. They continue to be focused, and productivity continues to be the same. And we have 24-hour access to legal counsel. Imagine if you were pulled over on the side of the road, or one of your employees was pulled over on the side of the road, and for a routine traffic stop, and a warrant is out for their name because identity theft occurred. What is identity monitoring or restoration going to do for you there? Nothing. You must have 24-hour access to legal counsel. And with Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated, they have a legal shield that gives us 24-hour access to legal services. It is by far the 800-pound gorilla in the room for identity theft protection. So real briefly to wrap up, adding this employee benefit will benefit your organization because it reduces employee turnover. Obviously, people shop benefits, not just shop pay. It raises morale because the more benefits that you can give somebody, the more they feel like they're getting more out of working there. They're a part of something, and it lowers absenteeism because someone doesn't have to miss work for a legal issue. Someone doesn't have to miss work for an identity theft issue. They have a resource behind them to go fix that problem for them. It saves the employer from productivity loss. It mitigates against fine, fees, and lawsuits. These new laws that are coming down the pipeline, which every organization has to be in compliance with May 1st of 2009, and ultimately it boosts bottom line profitability. It's a very affordable employee benefit that you can put in place to act as a defense system for the business first, for the company first, and then for the employee second.